asking a question in light of what the NRM as a political party has to do given the different uh, candidates who are coming out for the rest of speakership. I know for a fact that there are allegations that the speakership and also the deputy speakership in this country has already been negotiated away by virtue of the sake, allegedly, and that means that they have chosen certain individuals in the names of the Honorable, Right Honorable Speaker Anita Among and Right Honorable Taeva. But given the fact that there seems to be other individuals still within the NRM party or docket who are still interested in exercising their freedom of choice in light of becoming the next speakers of parliament, then one wonders and asks the question, how does NRM negotiate their way out in this, call it small dilemma? It will call for cohesion and transparency. As a party, NRM has to consolidate themselves, first of all, as an entity, as a party, sit as a party, and choose electively within their organs the next person who will be their mantle of choice for purpose of speakership in this country. And there has to be agreement, cohesion, transparency, and agreement. It will not be a question of choosing an individual, perhaps because they have gone a little bit ahead of this particular mandate or form, but negotiations, coherency, transparency, and deep consultation as who would be the best entity to be fronted for purposes of speakership within the NRM party.
Yep, we know the Namgaza force with the Karaka backup and then the Busoga factor. Then there is Mao who commands the northern region, who believes the slot for the speaker was meant to be theirs before the death of Jacob Olanya, and then might want to claim it now. With Anita Among being liked and disliked at the same time, is NRM sitting on a time bomb in this regard?
Well, that's another beautiful question, but let me conceptualize the question for you in the sense that we are dealing with a blue-eyed lady in the semblance of the current speaker. And then we have an individual who has substantially, perhaps more experience within parliamentary issues and perhaps elderly in stature in the likes of the Honorable Mao. And then we see another individual who you could argue as perhaps one who is repositioning herself as a central piece in the political dispensation of the people, particularly Busoga, but also in the bigger diaspora, in the name of Honorable Namuganza. The three individuals fundamentally present a substantive force to reckon with. So the question then becomes, who will come off as the best individual for purposes of standing for the office of speakership? I would argue that each one of those has individual advantages perhaps over the other. If you look at the Honorable Anita Among, she enjoys the fact that she's the blue-eyed lady now of the NRM party. She's very good at mobilization, negotiation, and also in terms of intruding or perhaps extending the tentacles of the NRM within the other opposition parties. So she comes off as that individual. We have seen how much she has ably done that through the just recent concluded elections, in terms of the mobilization skills, in terms of the negotiation skills, and in terms of the force to reckon with. And then we see the semblance of the Honorable Norbert Mao, who comes on as one who has that experience of sorts, in the sense that he has been in the political dispensation of this country for some time. So we could argue him as a person who perhaps enjoys some kind of former nice relationship with the former speaker who rested, the honorable who rested, who probably for purpose of discussion I wouldn't want to invoke much, but we all know what happened to our esteemed brother, Jacob Olanya. In the context that he was close, and in the context that he comes from the same political area, we could see that these people are, brandishing a question of heritage that may have gone wrong. In the words of the Honorable Norbert Mao, he says that speakership fell on the Honorable Anita Among as a question of accident, and that becomes a question of debate. So we could argue and say, okay, are we saying that Honorable Mao is quote unquote interested in a heritage of course, continuing the legacy of Jacob Olanya? One can debate that way, but then we could also look at Honorable Namuganza as an individual, a political force that has survived in the political dispensation of Busoga, particularly having been fought by even certain members within the NRM structure. Should we say that this is a question of vengeance, or is this a question of repositioning herself, knowing very well that she had been attempted to be censored in parliament before, and she had actually lost the parliamentary for the election for the NRM in terms of the primaries, and then she resurrected as an independent? Is it a real currency of another queen of Busoga in terms of the political dispensation, but perhaps now a kind of reincarnation of the Honorable Kadaga of sorts? We could argue that way. So all these entities become a great force to recognize in the political dispensation of our country today. Yes.
Okay. In your own perspective, do you see the above forces dividing the party or else?
With the question of allegiance, we could argue, just like we all know that the game of politics is fundamentally a dirty game, we could argue that whatever differences they may have now will be settled at a point when they have chosen the right speaker in the right time. For now, we could argue that there are differences in terms of internal fights, internal disagreements, and we may be waiting for a shocker. We may wait for a shocker to come at a time perhaps when the parliament has actually decided to choose the next person. We cannot just take a blanket sweep that because of the social media frenzy, because of the fact that this person is the incumbent, it's automatic truth that they will actually inherit this speakership position. We could be having a situation where people are silently waiting to avenge on the time when the ballot shall be exercised on the day of the election of the speaker.